Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining our second LILA Salon. This is something we're very excited to continue to offer, a space to connect our global community in celebration of devotional art from around the world across many different mediums, including film, music, visual art, poetry, and however else the soul wants to express its awe of the great mystery. So today we're very honored to welcome 4 artists that were selected as part of our open call that we had earlier this year. And yeah, the real intention is to get drunk on the divine through art together. Many traditions used art not just as a medium to consume, but really something to alter our consciousness, to elevate our consciousness, and to bring the heart closer to that divine mystery. And yeah, we were actually thinking, instead of calling it a salon, calling this the tavern, getting drunk on this sacred art together. And so yeah, we're privileged to have gotten to know some of these artists over the last few months, joining from the Netherlands, from Ireland, from Tunisia, and from the US by way of Nigeria. So we'll be introducing them over the course of the next hour and 20 minutes or so. And we'll also be sharing some new offerings that LILA is bringing forth in this next season, including our next open call that's specifically for makers and artisans, people who are making objects that are devotional in whatever way that it expresses their devotion from their culture and tradition. So we're really excited to launch that, as well as our first online course called The Songs of the Mystics, which will be a 7-week online course bringing together teachers, poets, musicians from various sacred traditions. And then lastly, we're excited to share that we're going to be going to Cuba in January for our first sacred music tour in Cuba. We offer these tours in Morocco and Turkey, and now we're adding Cuba to the list. So we're going to begin by introducing our first artist, Ebony Hoorn, who is an intuitive, multidisciplinary artist from the Netherlands and whose work moves fluidly between sound, poetry, writing, and performance. Rooted in presence and attunement, her practice emerges from the moment, unfolding through listening, improvisation, and the subtle currents of energy. She creates spaces where reflection, resonance, and embodied connection all converge, an interplay of silence, vitality, and dynamic expression. For over a decade, she has been deeply committed to her spiritual practice, her sadhana, and is currently studying with her teacher, Igor Kufayev, immersing in the depths of Advaita Tantra. Ebony's work is informed by a deep interest in perennial philosophy, with influences ranging from Johann Georg Hamann, the pre-Socratics, and Sufi mystics, to the integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo. So we're very honored to welcome you, Ebony. Thank you for being here. And yeah, just an invitation for everybody to receive this beautiful transmission that Ebony is going to share with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to start straight away with this sound offering, and I will finish it after with a reading of one of my poems. fallen echoes of supreme yearning masquerade as false pillars of light. Who but you could grant me that which I so deeply seek? Unseen, yet I feel your love, threading through my very being. I'm released from ropes once bound to a mind, desperate to grasp, to cling, to know. And yet it knows its final breath will shatter all, and all that remains is your luminous light.
Thank you so much, Ebony, for that beautiful offering.
Thank you for your presence, all of you.
We'll just take a moment to let that sink in. Thank you. So we will start to transition to our next offering. But before we do, just want to share that this salon came together out of an inspiration to connect artists and people who share this love for creating art from this prayerful place, and to preserve traditions that have been creating art from this place for many years, for many generations, for many centuries, as long as humanity has existed. So it's preserving traditions, and it is also creating a space for emergent expressions of sacred art, maybe that aren't connected to a lineage or a tradition, but maybe it's something that comes unexpectedly for any individual, that creates a piece of art that is just born out of their own visionary experience. And so that's the inspiration behind this salon and the open call. And as I mentioned before, we are doing another open call, this time for makers, people who are creating objects with their hands from this devotional place. It's live now. It's called Artisans of the Sacred, and it's going to be part of our souk. Souk is an Arabic word for marketplace. So we will be creating a marketplace of sacred goods featuring artists' works from around the world. So if this speaks to you, we're calling makers, guardians of sacred crafts, and traditional artisans to be part of this. And we're calling in people who might be making instruments or prayer rugs or beads or textiles, sacred scents and balms, calligraphy, vessels or ceramics, anything that is keeping a sacred lineage alive through your hands. We would love to hear from you. So you could find that on our website. And yeah, so we'll now transition to introduce Deirdre Southey from Ireland, We're very happy to have Deirdre with us. We just featured her video on our Instagram page about a month ago, and it really resonated all around the world. This beautiful visual expression that we'll play now for people to see. But yeah, Deirdre is an Irish artist based in the southeast of Ireland whose practice explores the sacred dimensions of sound, ecology, and place. Her work arises from deep listening and meditative walking along the River Barrow, where she grew up and continues to develop an eco-spiritual relationship. Drawing on ancient myth, environmental awareness, and contemporary sound and video practices, she creates works that invite audiences to reconnect with the living presence of the natural world. So we'll begin by watching this visual piece dedicated to Berba, the goddess of the River Barrow. Just 1 second, and I'm going to put it on full screen. Make sure the sound is also sharing. Yes, it is. Okay, great. Passing it off to you, Deirdre.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I'm grateful to be here today and to share my work as part of LILA Salon. And thank you to Omar and Amira for creating this space for devotional and sacred art. Lead up or background into how I created this artwork and a background about myself as an artist. So my practice has always been rooted in a search for connection. And for many years, I explored this through exploring sound as a medium to work with. I was fascinated by the idea of visualizing sound, how something invisible, something immaterial might be given form. as I worked with this, I began to realize that sound carries something sacred, something that touches both the physical and the spiritual at once. Sound is vibration, energy moving through matter. And in that sense, it is the last bastion of physicality and materiality. It's a gateway between the physical universe and the other world, the sacred. This discovery drew me into ancient beliefs about the origins of sound. Across cultures, sound has been held as sacred, from the Om in Hindu tradition to the Word in Christianity. Each in their own way expresses the idea that sound is at the root of creation. And what struck me was how close this is to modern physics and the theory of the Big Bang, which could be understood as a kind of primordial vibration, the first resonance from which our entire universe unfolded. So for me, sound became a meeting point, a bridge between ancient spiritual knowledge and contemporary science, and a pathway for me into something deeper. Around the same time, I was becoming more aware of the impact that our contemporary way of life was having on the earth and how disconnected people are becoming to our natural environment. As an artist, I felt I needed to express these concerns, or more accurately, I wanted to inspire people to reconnect with nature. To reconnect with nature and to rekindle the spiritual relationship that we always had in the past. I wanted my work to become ritualistic in its process of development, and that the end result from this would be artworks that are like invocations for change. The main area of my artwork is a devotion to my local river, the River Barrow. I grew up along its banks, where my garden was an island within it, and as a child, I developed a deep connection and relationship to this river. It was part of my everyday life, a positive motherly presence that shaped my imagination. And so in recent years, I've been consciously developing that connection. Through meditative walking along its banks, listening deeply, not only to the water itself, but to all the life that it sustains, the river begins to communicate with me. It invites me to pay attention and to allow the boundaries between myself and river to soften. Through this process, something shifts. The sense of I begins to dissolve. The river's voice begins to speak through my imagination and inspiration. What comes is not just my own creativity, but something that feels like a communication from the river itself. I chose the title for my artwork, Berbas Reverie, because Berba is the ancient name for the River Barrow. In Irish mythology, the rivers of Ireland were named after goddesses, or were seen as goddesses themselves. And Berba is the goddess of my local river. The name reminds us that for our ancestors, rivers were not only sources of water and sustenance, but living beings, embodiments of spirit and power. In creating Berbas Reverie, I worked with materials that I see as sacred in themselves. The sounds I used were recorded directly from the river at the height of summer, when its energy and vitality were most alive. I used the Barrow's own water, gathered from the river, so that her presence flows physically through my artwork. I included local honey, a gift born from the bees' relationship with land, embodying nourishment and interconnection. I also worked with gold, long associated with the divine, with illumination and what is most precious. Together, sound, water, honey, and gold create more than an artwork. They form an offering that honors the river as goddess, as teacher, and as a living being. For me, Berbas Reverie is both a personal offering and a gesture of reconnection. It marks the beginning of a body of work that will continue to grow from my relationship with Berba. And at its heart is the same understanding that first drew me to sound, that the world is alive with vibration, with sacred resonance, and that by listening, we can begin to sense our place within it. So thank you.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Thank you.
So incredible. Yeah, if there's something you want to type in the chat, how that lands for you, it would be great to hear. But thank you for your
Thank you.
devotion and for allowing yourself to be a vessel, a channel for this divine energy to come through, and how unique these elements that you've combined, how
Thank you.
how original and unique. And I can't wait to see what you continue to allow to come through.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And yeah, that theme of being a vessel for something greater to come through is the pursuit of the artist, right? That we
Definitely.
seek to kind of remove that I, that small I, and
Yeah,
allow that bigger energy to come through and create through us.
definitely. I think that's what art is all about. No matter what medium you use, is you're kind of more like a channel or a vessel, like you're saying, for the other world to come through, or divine presence. Yeah.
Yeah. And that the more that we do that, the more it also, for somebody who receives that art, it resonates at that level for the one who sees it. It's like it
Yes.
awakens that divine spark in us. Maybe if
Yes.
something is created from more of an ego place, then it resonates with the ego place inside the person who's listening to it.
Definitely, that intention is important, isn't it? Where you place your intentions.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
think we could all feel the deep intention you've put behind this work. So thank you again, and
Thank you.
really look forward to seeing what else you create through.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's let that land and settle for a moment. How beautiful. Yeah, very honored to be in the presence of people who are creating in this way and in a community that really appreciates art that is being created from this space. So again, thank you all for being here. So we'll transition now to introduce our next artist named JATHB. Sorry, I'm just pulling up. Yes, JATHB Oruwari, who is a visionary healer, visual artist, mystic, and intuitive channel, whose work bridges African ancestral wisdom with contemporary spiritual expression. Born and raised in Nigeria and now based in Virginia, she draws from her lineage as a practitioner of Odinani, the ancient cosmology and spiritual philosophy of the Igbo people of West Africa. Through her practice, JATHB explores the intersection of art, ritual, and ancestral knowledge as pathways for healing, remembrance, and illumination. Her recent body of work, Echoes of the Nile, reinterprets African spiritual teachings through a contemporary lens. JATHB's art serves as both devotional offering and mnemonic device, inviting audiences to reconnect with the light within and the wisdom of our collective ancestors. So welcoming you, JATHB. Thank you so much for being here with us and looking forward to receiving.
Greetings, everyone. Give me a moment to share my screen and we will get started. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Amazing, amazing. Again, thank you everyone for being here today. I will be sharing a little bit of a presentation on a concept that I hope will give us a new or an enhanced perspective of our current reality. So what I'll do is I'll start by sharing a little bit about me, and then I'll get into the Igbo people and their ways, their cosmology. I'll then talk about the selected artwork that Lila picked out, as well as its correlating symbolism, and then a little takeaway that we can journey with from this. And so, as Omar shared, my name is Data Oruwari, also known as the Ancestor Scribe. I am a visionary healer, visual artist, mystic, and an intuitive spiritual guide. I was born and raised in Nigeria, but I now live with my daughter in Virginia in the United States. My work actually combines and is rooted in over a decade of creative practice, immersion in African ancestral ways of knowing, as well as spiritual devotion. As a modern day healer and an ancestral scribe, I walk with the wisdom of those who came before me. That is what I channel through to birth into this world. And so I hope that with everything that my practice does, I'm always aiming to hold space for transformation and to also restore the sacred in our everyday lives. My practice is deeply rooted in something called Ordinani. Ordinani is an ancient spiritual and philosophical tradition of the Igbo people of West Africa, which is something that comes through my mother's lineage. And so, who are the Igbo people? The Igbo people are my ancestors, and these ancestors are one of Africa's largest ethnic groups. They are indigenous to the southeastern part of Nigeria. Beyond being known for their artistry, their resilient spirit, innovation, and vibrant culture, they have always carried a deeply philosophical worldview called Ordinani. Ordinani translates to as observed on the land. It is through their observation of our reality and nature that they derive their wisdom from. In Ordinani, life is understood as a balance between the seen and the unseen, the physical and the spiritual. At the heart of this is a principle that they know as Chi na Eke, which I will be expanding on in a little bit. This cosmology shaped their worldview even to the sense of their dignity and their freedom. And so there's a powerful historical example known as the Igbo landing of 1803, where enslaved Igbo people who were brought to the coast of Georgia here in the United States actually chose to walk into the water as an act of resistance rather than submitting to bondage, right? So they all went into the water and literally committed suicide, collectively. Because to them, they said that if the water spirit brought us here, the water spirit will take us home. This event reflects how deeply their worldview affirmed the eternal nature of their spirit and the refusal to live out of alignment and divine freedom. In essence, the Igbo culture was shaped by a worldview where life is lived in alignment with cosmic order, where balance and reciprocity guide human action, and where art, ritual, philosophy, and even resistance are never inseparable from spirituality. And so, in expanding on that concept of Chi na Eke, which I mentioned, this is a very foundational principle, this duality, often expressed together as a word called Chineke. Eke, the Eke aspect of Chineke it represents the creator in her primordial formless state. When we talk about the mysteries, right? The unseen, the womb of creation, the unseen potential before anything is manifest. That is the aspect of the feminine known as Eke. And then on the other side, we have the Chi. The Chi represents creation in motion. It is life force. It is the manifest reality as a result of Ike's will. It is also embodied as the visible world. Anything that we can see is the aspect of chi. And this duality exists in every single thing that exists in our reality today. Everything can be understood through this relationship, be it spirit and matter, night and day, potential and form, seen and unseen. And as people who art was a very core part of their expression, what I have is this image in the middle here, which is a bronze casting of how they were able to express this in symbolic form. It is basically a snake that is going in two spiral directions, but connected as one. And to expand on chi a little bit more, on a personal level, that is on the level that we are in, chi is our divine spark. It is our highest essence. It is our spiritual identity and the thing that gives us a direct link to source, right? On a celestial level, if we take it one step up, the Igbo understood the sun as the extension of that energy, that chi within us on earth, because the sun is the giver of life. It is the life force of the earth. By honoring and working with the sun, one could gain insight, also known as imeta uche, or wisdom, known as ime amamihe, to align with anything that is fully in line with a person's life's purpose. The sun was also the physical embodiment of the deity known as Ányá Ánwú, which translated to the eye of light or the eye of the sun. Ányá Ánwú is a cosmic force that represents illumination, knowledge, and the ability to reveal things that are hidden. Nothing shines brighter than the sun on earth. And so Ányá Ánwú is celebrated as the giver of life, the one who nurtures and sustains the world with warmth and with light. And so my ancestors, with this understanding of the nature of the sun and this concept of as above, so below, my ancestors cultivated a living relationship with this cosmic force in a multitude of ways, some of which were through ancestral veneration. The sun was understood to be one of the earliest ancestors of our people. And so through daily prayers and libations, they were able to venerate this cosmic force. Every morning, they would go under the sun and thank the sun for the day, ask for blessings, ask for wisdom, ask for insight. They also connected with this cosmic force through agricultural festivals. So since the sun was central to growth and to harvest, Ányá Ánwú was venerated during cultural festivals and times of harvest. Art was a huge core part of the culture of the Igbo people. And so another way that they connected with this cosmic force is that they were known to create elaborate artifacts around this. They also had some artistic expressions honoring Ányá Ánwú, such as what we're calling the Ichi facial markings. So these were a type of scarification that was done to mimic the rays of the sun. And a person who did that was trying to symbolize enlightenment and alignment with that cosmic order. Another way through artistic expression that they connected with this cosmic force was through an art form called uli. So uli are markings, symbolistic markings that are done either on the body or we see this done on walls. So in the image right here at the bottom right, we see that sun symbol on a wall that was depicted, which symbolizes Ányá Ánwú. Lastly, the sun served as a point of healing. So under the first light of day, known as Ányá Ánwú Ututu, my ancestors would go out and bathe under the sun, knowing that it was able to cleanse and renew their energies for the day. Another way of communication was facing the east to pray, right? And they faced the east to pray because they understood that the sun was like a communication device, and facing the sun meant that you were sending your intentions and your prayers through the sun into the unseen realms. And so it brings me to the artwork that all of this philosophy and I would say secret science inspired me to create. The artwork here is called Ányá Ánwú. And this piece to me is an iconographic representation of that sun deity. And it's rendered through ink, stippling, and gilded with 24 karat gold leaf. In this work, the African mask here symbolizes to me the heightened vision and spiritual insight that happens when you connect with this cosmic force. The gilded eye in the middle reflects the sun as a divine eye of illumination, a symbol that is also seen in other cosmologies, like in Kemet, where you have the eye of Ra. The halos of the rays are echoed through that portal of communication that we spoke about, and the rays of the sun as that portal of communication. We see this as a halo behind this deity here, right? And together, these elements frame Ányá Ánwú as both a force of life and a portal of communication. And for me, the intention behind doing this was simply an act of devotion. I created this piece during a time of decolonizing my worldview and reconnecting with my ancestral ways of knowing and my ancestral ways of being. And so this was a devotional act to myself. It was a devotional offering to the cosmic force itself, Ányá Ánwú, and also it was a devotional offering to my ancestors to preserve and to remember their wisdom, which is something that right now is at the risk of being forgotten. And as a takeaway, my prayer is that Ányá Ánwú inspires you all to reflect on your own inner light, to help you remember that you carry a divine spark within you, your own inner sun. And cultivating awareness of that sun in your life and in nature around you is an important thing to be mindful of. And also knowing that you can spend however little time you can in the morning under the sun to cleanse yourself, to set your intentions for the day, and to remain open to guidance, right? Because in doing so, you're able to align more deeply with the vitality that sustains all of life. And that's all that I had to share today. Thank you so much for your energy and for your attention. And may the light of Ányá Ánwú always illuminate your path.
A round of applause. Truly a remarkable offering. Thank you, JATHB, for your generosity of spirit, generosity in transmitting these very old ancestral ways with us. It's one thing to observe a piece of art and be struck by it, but to be brought into the many layers of context to understand what produced the visual art that you shared with us is so, so meaningful. And yeah, just the generosity of giving us a takeaway of how we can integrate these practices in our own lives, as yeah, we don't take that lightly. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm honored to even be able to do this. So thank you for this platform and this
Yeah.
opportunity.
And just the connections, like the word chi, of course, you find that in other traditions, in Chinese
Yes,
spiritual philosophy.
meaning the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how that word traveled across the world in that way to essentially mean the same thing is remarkable. And even in the Sufi philosophy, this idea of the divine in its formless nature expresses itself through its names, its qualities. There are these 99 names of the divine, and that each of them reveal the divine in creation. And I was seeing that parallel as well.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you so much. I look forward to staying connected and just seeing more of the beautiful work that you create.
Thank you.
Letting that settle, letting that land. How beautiful this metaphor of the sun in the sky to the sun that is within, as above so below, as within so without, outside of us. That macrocosm and microcosm connection. Very moved by that. So we will transition to our final offering. But before we go into that, there's another LILA offering that we would love to share with everybody. As I mentioned in the beginning, we are producing our first online course called Songs of the Mystics. It's been a long time dream of myself and my wife Amira, who's the co-founder of LILA, to create an offering similar to what we're doing here, really, but to actually study different songs and poems across various spiritual traditions. So essentially, over the course of 7 weeks, we will feature a guest teacher or artist or musician who will be sharing a poem or a song from their lineage that they feel encompasses the essential teachings of their path. So, week one will be Tibetan Buddhist song uh, by Pema Khandro. So, she will be sharing a song from the Tibetan Buddhist lineage that, in a way, encapsulates the path of Tibetan Buddhism, specifically Dzogchen Buddhism, the branch of Buddhism that she is a teacher of. The following week, we will have a class with Swami Satchitananda, who will be teaching 2 poems from the Advaita Vedanta tradition, one poem from Saint Kabir Das, and the other by Sadashiva Brahmendra. The next week will be a song from the mystical Jewish tradition with a dear friend, Rabbi Zach Asher. He will be teaching a song called Yedit Nevesh, which translates to Beloved of the Soul. On week 4, we'll be inviting an indigenous musician. She is Navajo Cheyenne, and she'll be sharing a song of hers called All Nations Rise. The next week, we'll have a song from Sufi mysticism of Anatolia called Erenler Jemi, the Assembly of the Attained, with a wonderful Sufi elder named Chembaba and an all-female Sufi music group named Ányá Ánwú. And then on December 7th, we'll have a song in the Bal tradition with Parvati Bal, who will be teaching a song called Probet Utiya, Rising in the Morning. And finally, we will have another song from the Sufi tradition, but this time in Morocco, taught by Sidi Abdel Fattah Muttaqi, who is a Sufi mystic and musician, and he'll be teaching a song called Ya Talib al-Fana, O you who seeks annihilation in the divine. So this is going to be a really beautiful tapestry of song and poetry from many different traditions. And for us, we just feel the importance of weaving together these sacred paths in a time when there is so much division, and to remember that we are all connected in our humanity, and that we all praise the mystery in our own ways, but there's also a common ground that we can meet. And music, poetry can be such a beautiful meeting place. So with that said, we will transition to our final offering with a Tunisian duo called JATHB. They are amazing. We have gotten to know them a bit over the months and have been following them for a while. Their story began with a magical encounter. They are a duo, Maryam Hamrouni and Mohammed Barsawi. And Maryam, whose tender and powerful voice touches the soul, and Mohammed, a talented instrumentalist and composer with a deep electro sound. Together, they created this unique offering where dark folk music meets ethno-electronic soundscapes, blending Sufi-inspired texts in Tunisian dialect with modern composition. Through their music, they revived Tunisia's oral traditions, carrying forward a cultural heritage filled with mysticism, poetry, and memory. So they weren't able to be with us live. They're actually performing in France right now, but they generously recorded a video just for this gathering. That's going to be a performance of a song from their latest album, wilaya. So we really hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
Oh Hello Lila community, hello tribe, everywhere in this club. We are really grateful to be here now with you. We are JATHB duo. This is Mariam.
Muhammad.
And we are really grateful to be performing this track and sharing it with you. It's called Sana and Asnani Sana. I am made by a creator, and this track is one of our album that called Wilya Volume 1. And Wilya is an Arabic or Tunisian word that means saints. And this full album is called Wilya because it is a tribute to our saints. It is a tribute to our Wilya and all the sacred beings, all the light beings, all the light warriors that crossed this land. And we are really grateful for this journey that we lived while creating Wilya. Each track is a tribute to a North African saint, such as Abu al-Hasan al-Shidli, Sayyida al-Manubiyya, Abdul Qadir al-Jailani, alayhim as-salam wa rahma. And it is also a call for remembrance, a call to remember our ancestors, a call to remember our roots, a call to remember our origins, a call to remember ourselves, our light within ourselves. It's an invitation to dive inside in this tough time, if I can say. And we think that this ancestral Sufi knowledge is what we need now to remember our origins and to call back our light and call back peace in this world. And JATHB also, to live the JATHB. And let me introduce you. JATHB as word, it's literally means attraction or manifestation, and it is a Sufi movement in our Sufi ceremonies in Tunisia, in Al-Hadra. So it's the state, it is a state of ecstasy that we enter when we maybe leave this material world. And this is the idea behind creating this album. Maybe you can hear some new technologies with the Sufi songs, and it is a message to link our modern life and express this sacred knowledge without let me say, forgetting our ancestral or ancient sacred knowledge. So we wish that we always remember our origins and our light within us, and may we always remember, and
may all the people in this world live in peace and serenity.
yes, may all beings in all this world remember this peace, remember its light. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be within you, and let's pray to meet maybe soon and live this experience together. We will be releasing our second volume, Willia 2, very soon, so stay tuned, stay close. Thank you so much, and see you soon maybe. Thank you. Divine timing.